once again. My name is Eric, and today we're trying something different. I'm trying to live feature on YouTube, so hopefully everything will go well. Still traveling around a little bit, summertime, so not at home. But just to reiterate, the basis of journaling for anybody who happens to be new, remember, don't worry about spelling, don't worry about format, don't worry about what to write. The key is just keep the pen moving. And as a basic criteria, what I recommend is writing to a page amount. So I recommend at least one page. If you happen to have a journaling book, approximately, this is like 6.5 by 9.5, I believe, or 7.5 by 9.5. Try and fill up one page. And depending on how new you are to this or not, that may be easy or may be hard. If it's too easy, write 2 pages. If it's too difficult to write a full page, then I would say write under a time limit. But make it at least 20 minutes or so. The key is to kind of carve out a slice of time for yourself that you can kind of hear your thoughts. And when you do this repeatedly over time and consistently, it becomes a nice process for many, many different reasons, which I've mentioned many different kinds in different videos already online on journaling. But I'll give you a little quick anecdote that I was speaking with a friend of mine, and she was having a lot of things going on in her life recently, a lot of big decisions to make, and she was kind of having a lot of pressure in her head. And the first thought I had to her was, how are you journaling? Why don't you just grab a journal book or paper? And she happens to be an educator herself too, so she was easily adapted to this. And just empty your mind. Just write all the problems out. Just be descriptive, just empty it all out. And I guarantee you, you will feel better. And in the process of first kind of emptying everything out of your mind, when you do this process consistently, then you can start to think about how can you make things better, or you can find solutions, or you can process things. This is one of the elements of journaling that's very nice. It becomes like a personal meeting with yourself. And when it's done consistently, once you start kind of writing, and you don't really know where it's going to go, and that's the key. And that may be a little difficult for some people who aren't used to that, particularly like people who are more like on the analytical side or left brain side, where everything is kind of always planned out. I mean, I share those thoughts myself. I come from a math background myself, but I've learned from my music side that you want to be in the present moment, and particularly with journaling, you want to be in the present. You don't want to know exactly what's going to go. The more you're in the present, the more you're going to connect with your subconscious, the easier it's going to be to kind of get these things out. Remember, all these thoughts will be cultivated or turned into emotions, good or bad. So by getting them out, you can kind of relieve that pressure. And if you've been kind of finding out that you're unmotivated or things aren't going the way they are, I suggest journaling. And try and do it. I recommend always in the morning. I'm a little off right now as I'm not at home, but I always try and do it in the morning. Kind of anchors my day. I get my thoughts out. I kind of give myself some personal time in the beginning of the day before I go out and do whatever I have to do. So without any further ado, let's do our journaling session today. Like as I said earlier, if you have a journaling book, great. There's many of them on Amazon, just a handful of dollars. We also have Moral Brand is supporting our own journaling books. You can follow the link in the description of this live feed, and you can help support the channel too. Greatly appreciated. And or comments or other prompts maybe you'd like me to bring up. I try and bring prompts every now and then, but sometimes it's just nice just write. So, and I recommend getting a pen. A fast pen, and what I mean by that is a gel pen works really well for me, but a 1 millimeter is a broad enough point that I can write fast. So, but do whatever you like, that's the key. And if you happen to use paper or you don't have a book, that's fine too. The key is just journal, and over time it will go better and better and better. Besides many of the benefits I've mentioned, writing gets better, spelling gets better. If you happen to be a student or someone who writes a lot, the ability to be able to connect with your thoughts and come up with ideas easily. If you have to write an essay, you have to write a report for somebody, this is a great process. And for the amount of dollars it costs to buy a book and the amount of time it takes, this is the best bang for the buck. So get your favorite beverage. I have my water. It's a nice summer day. And let's do a one-page of journaling. And for anybody new, I always recommend heading with the location. I am at a family member's house today. Time is approximately, I'm going to say 11:45 in the a.m. and the date is the 6th of July to 23. And as a simple kind of grease of the wheels, I always recommend the establishing sentence be like, describe how the day is. That way, if you happen to review this in the future, you kind of have an orientation of what was going on. So, without any further ado, let's get to journaling. Write whatever you like. There's no, what do you call it? No prompt. Just write whatever comes to mind, and let's have a nice session. And remember, enjoy the process. Good luck, everybody. Okay, everybody, that's one page. See, it's not so bad. I think what's important here, everybody, is that, you know, like even now, I'm not at my desk, I'm not at my normal situation where I have, and it's easy to kind of feel like, oh, it's not worth doing, or I don't want to do it. I see this with students with homework, and you know, there's always like these millions of things that pop up that are easy to defer from some of the things that we know that are good for us, that help keep our structure for our life solid. And for me, journaling is one of those major pillars, or one of the bottom of the pyramid that kind of you build your life on top of. So even if you can't make things happen, or if you're not at home or in a different situation, something like that, it's important to still do it, even if it's not optimal. And okay, here's Wiley Coyote, everybody say hi to Wiley if you can see him, one of my dogs. And that's why it's so important to kind of do this. So like even now, I'm at my family member's house, and I want to make sure I journal this. It's important for me, it's important to keep the process going, because it's moving towards some of the goals and accomplishments, or goals and things that I'm working towards in my life to move forward. And journaling is one of the main processes of it. That's one of the reasons why I turned this thing into a video. And anybody happens to be new doing it, I highly recommend start it this summer. Find a spot, carve out a spot in your house, make it your own, clean it, you know, make it somewhere inducive, not only functionally to write, but also something that's stimulating. You feel like you are calm, and that you feel like you kind of transported, or like it's your little nook. And try and come up consistently. Everybody can carve out at least a half an hour a day. I recommend do it in the morning. Do that the first thing you do before you do anything else, before anybody else, including your dogs or your kids. Give back to yourself. And one of the best things to do, and the biggest bang for the buck, is journaling, because you give that time for yourself. It's one of the best things that I've loved doing, and I love doing it, traveling, and I've been doing it so long, and that's what I realized. Why don't I just do this journaling channel, even if it's on the math channel, because it's going to be part of the book I'm writing on executive function, the infrastructure for student success. Journaling is one of those kind of a nerve center where you can kind of reflect and process everything. It's a very important tool, particularly in today's times with a lot of stress and mental health, and the world is changing. There's a lot of things happening in the world. It's a nice time to kind of have to yourself to listen to your own thoughts, process them. Even if you don't get the answers right away, it gets in your subconscious, and your subconscious will process it. And next thing you know, in a couple journaling sessions, or maybe when you're driving or riding your bike, whatever it is, something will pop in your head. It's a very important thing to do. Anyways, enough talk. I hope everybody finished your journaling process. If not, please continue writing, and I will see you next time. And remember, enjoy the process. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye. Oops. Stop this thing. Okay, let's see how we turn this thing off. Okay, how do we stop?